Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Ashark Books. So for today's video, I really wanted to do a recommendation video, and I really wanted to do a recommendation video on romances, but not just romances, kind of romances that are not the only storyline going on, so either in a paranormal, dystopian, fantasy book, because some of those are some of my favorites. I definitely love just straight up romance, but sometimes you want a little bit something else, and those can be the ones that are hard, because it's hard to know whether the book that you're reading is going to be just fantasy, which is great too, or if it's going to have that little bit of romance flowing throughout it like I like. So these are some of my recommendations for people who want that little spark of love in their book but also want a little more meat too. The first recommendation I have is for the Lux series by Jennifer L Armentrout. So this series, a lot of you probably have heard of. It is about a girl named Katie who moves in next door to aliens, and there's a really hot guy named Damon and his sister who is just the sweetest, and I really enjoyed this series. This was one of the first series that I read that kind of got me into that like romance, paranormal romance mood, and I love Jennifer Armentrout's books. I think her writing is just sucks you in. Her dialogue is so funny, and this is the first series that I read from her. The rest of her series are great as well, and she's actually got some more new adult series that if you're into a little more steam, definitely check out her new adult series. So my first recommendation is definitely the Lux series by Jennifer Armentrout. The series that I want to recommend to you guys is the Bloodline series by Richelle Mead. So I'm sure everyone has heard of the Vampire Academy series by Richelle Mead. This one is the spin-off of it, and I feel like it doesn't get as much kind of hype or as much being talked about as the Vampire Academy series, but I actually prefer this one to that series. This one follows Sydney, who was this kind of a minor side character in the Vampire Academy series, but this one's only her story, and it takes place in California, and it has her with Adrian, who was one of the main guy characters in Vampire Academy. I just really love this series. She's an alchemist, so it has kind of that science, mystical, almost more like a witch mojo going on, and the series, I believe it's 5 books, and they're all fabulous. Definitely check this out. Even if you didn't love Vampire Academy, check this one out, because I think you could probably jump into this. You may not know all of the side characters, but I think you could probably still read it, and the romance between Adrian and Sydney is just so beautiful, and I love them, and it was definitely a bit of a slow burn, but still really, really good. Check this one out. Okay guys, so my next recommendation is going to be for a series called The Collector Society. Looks like this, and it's by Heather Lyons. I don't know why I said Jennifer. Heather Lyons. Now, this series is really unique, and I consider it kind of a fantasy. It does take place in modern day times, but it's an Alice in Wonderland retelling that I had not seen anything like this before. And it's about Alice, who's older. I think she's in her early 20s. And it takes place, it kind of kicks off from there. It's unique. It doesn't have all of the old kind of same story over and over again that you see with a lot of retellings. It's unique. It's definitely more of a new adult book. There is some sexual content in there, nothing too graphic or anything like that, but there is definitely some sexual content. There's a little more steam than in some of the other retellings, and this one's really cool because the Collector Society is basically a group of all of these different storybook characters, like fairy tale characters that are real people, and that's what Alice kind of gets dumped into and is finding out. And there's people like Huckleberry Finn, and there's a love story between Alice and one of the other characters. I don't want to say which one because I think it's kind of better to go in a little blind with both the story and the romance, but this one had just a really sweet romance and just a really unique setting and a really unique story that I felt like I hadn't seen in a lot of other retellings. So if you want a bit more of an adult retelling but definitely still has that just really cute, sweet love story, check out The Collector Society by Heather. Suggestion for you guys is the Sweet Evil trilogy, which by Wendy Hagen. This is the last one. This is Sweet Temptation, which is actually told from the guy's perspective. It's just the only one I had in hard copy, so that's why I'm holding it up. But the first one is Sweet Evil, and it is just such a fun story. It's about a girl named Anna, and she's a good Southern girl, grows up not really knowing much about her father or her past, but she meets this boy named Kai, and it's about demons and the different like levels and kind of overlords of the realm, I guess you could say, and I just love it. Anna is just so feisty and smart, but she's also kind of being thrust into the situation where she doesn't know what's going on, and Kai is that broody, like mysterious kind of guy, but you can tell underneath he's got maybe something redeeming about him, or at least Anna thinks he does. So this one is 3 books, and then there's this one, which is the 4th, which is just, like I said, the guy's kind of point of view. But I really suggest this. I feel like not enough people talk about the Sweet Evil trilogy, and it's one of my favorites. I've read the series at least 2 or 3 times now, and they're quick reads, they're not too long, so definitely give this a try. It's definitely got a lot of like paranormal aspects with the demons and the different sins, because I think it's if I remember right, it's like each person's father is over a different sin. So I think there's like lust, glutton, envy, all of those different sins. It's really cool, really unique. Okay guys, my next suggestion for a bit of a more definitely adult, kind of paranormal romance that has just the most like swoon-worthy, steamy romance is the Vein of Love series by Scarlet. So this one is definitely different. To me, this one is really similar in some ways to the Sweet Evil trilogy that I talked to you guys about a minute ago, but this one's definitely adult, over 18. It's got some really steamy scenes, which I mean I really liked, but if that's not your thing, maybe skip this one because it definitely isn't for like the faint of heart, but I really enjoyed it. This one is about a girl who, unbeknownst to her, has been betrothed to a demon since birth, and suddenly, I think she's around 21, this demon, who's very good looking, comes to collect his bride, and her parents never told her any of this or anything like that, and it kind of takes off from there. This is another one I think it's kind of better to go in a little blind, but just know it's an amazing paranormal romance. There's 3 books out right now. The 4th book is coming out on August 1st, so about a week, and I'm stoked because that's the final book and I just have to know how it ends. So it's definitely, again, it has those demons, it has the different like kind of lords of the demon realm. The guy who is her betrothed is definitely very artery, very kind of, at the first book, I will tell you, I didn't like him very much. He was very standoffish. He kept saying like, I can't like you, like I don't have emotions, but you kind of find out more about him as you read and why he might be that way. And by the 2nd and 3rd book, if you're like me, you're like head over heels in love with him. So definitely give this one a try if you want a bit more of a like steamy read. My next suggestion is Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter. This series, I don't hear hardly anyone talking about, at least not anymore. I did hear a little bit back a few years ago when it was kind of coming out, but Gina Showalter is known for her more adult paranormal romances a lot. I think she does write contemporary as well, but this one is my favorite series from her, and it's YA, so obviously it's a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. Just realized I have 2 Alice in Wonderland retellings, but they're both very different. So this one is definitely more YA, and it's really unique because it does have zombies in it. Now, I know what you're thinking, that sounds completely awful, but I promise you it's not. It's really unique, it's really cool. There's a swoon-worthy guy, and his name's Cole, and he kind of has to come help her figure out all of this stuff, and her father was they thought he was crazy, basically, Alice's father, and he kept like kind of raving about things, zombies, and people just thought he was nuts. So it comes out years later that maybe he wasn't so crazy after all, and it has So Cole has secrets and they're kind of finding out what his secrets are, but also helping Alice, and she kind of turns into this badass like zombie fighter, which I'm not into zombies either. I don't watch The Walking Dead or anything like that, but I still really love this. There's 3 books in the series, so they're pretty quick reads again, and they're just really unique. I don't know if I've read anything like this, so definitely check this one out for a really great romance. Cole, again, I have a type, like broody, like swoony, you know, kind of a hard ass, but then he kind of softens up as it goes, so definitely check this. Last recommendation for you guys is the Book of Ivy Duology by Amy Engel. This one came out a few years ago and I really enjoyed this duology. It's a quick read. The romance is really unique. So it's about the United States after a nuclear war, and basically the United States has been kind of decimated, so there's not much left. This story takes place 50 years after that, and there's 2 sides. There's the winning side of the war and the losing side, and the way they kind of keep peace is by marrying off the losing side's daughters to the winning side's sons. That's where this takes place. There's a girl named Ivy, and she's getting married off to the president's son, Bishop. And it just kind of goes from there, and it's kind of fighting against this arranged marriage, but then there's a lot more kind of political turmoil going on against the 2 sides. This one has a lot of like political drama, so if you're into that, definitely check this one out. Bishop is one of the sweetest characters. You kind of think he's gonna be an ass because, I mean, he is kind of the president's son, and he just could have been very spoiled his whole life, but he's very sweet, and I love him and Ivy together. Like I said, it's only a duology, so the story does wrap up pretty quickly, and you don't have to, you know, invest your entire life for this series. Definitely check this one out. It's another of those just really cute YA romances that I would definitely suggest. Okay guys, that is all my suggestions for kind of fantasy, paranormal books that have really great love stories in them. Let me know what some of your favorite paranormal or fantasy love stories are down below, and if you'd like, please subscribe or give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks, bye!